What's up, guys? This is Zach, your coach of the Secret Garden Hoopas, here to bring you another episode of our little PBL cast. When there's one Zach, there's always another, so feel free to introduce yourself.
What is up?
There's always another Zach when you have one on the cast. And then obviously
Oh,
our permanent special guest Dan is still here with us.
Like a cancer, can't get rid of me.
And we actually have
Oh, that's a real word. Never mind.
we actually have
What?
an actual special guest this week, which is our beloved Jacob.
Oh yeah, the scariest coach to never win the championship.
The scariest coach in general. to
That
be
is
honest.
true.
At
So,
least
yeah.
he knows. At least he knows.
Our beloved Evan is currently exploring
Out in Harlem.
Unova right
He
now.
is he's out in Harlem working on some marketing contracts here. He'll be back next week.
that
Don't
what
worry
he's
about it.
doing?
He's just he's trying to get us some different.
I
other
thought he was
sponsors,
just having fun.
He's out there
No,
to prove
no,
that
it's a
Kieran was an
business.
inside job, okay?
Yeah.
I thought he was just exploring Unova, trying to find that Victini.
No.
Anyway,
Well,
to get right into the content of this week, you can see on the screen we have results from this week. All 7 matches were actually done on time, so we don't have any TBDs for us. And I think we can honestly just start jumping into the matches because we have a little bit of a schedule for this episode, and we kind of want to keep it going. So,
against
Adapting.
my wishes, but yes.
against Dan's wishes,
We're learning.
we had 3 people to 1. Dan lost this vote this week.
Yeah. Well, I'm dying on this hill.
So we're just going to go in order. You can see Sneasels here, Sneasels and Weedles, which are kind of a slant rhyme there. The result was 6-0. And I would just start off by saying this is the most misleading 6-0 you will probably ever see.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, this was not a real 6-0.
So like what this was a lot of them chipping back and forth, not doing anything too significant until one of the levies finally broke. And when that levy broke, a beast boost happened.
Jesus Christ.
And it's
it's everything I hate about that mon.
so yeah, it's Dan's favorite mon, Kartana. Picked up 1 KO and kind of just went on a rampage to kind of clean the rest of the team.
It really threatened. It threatened that to happen a couple times because Evan and Cheryl both used a lot of baton pass in their match, and I really finally realized the danger of Kartana in a baton pass setup.
Yes.
And he didn't run what I thought would be interesting, which would be choice band with an agility pass to it. Still really deadly, really deadly.
Yeah, it was. They were both using the new rule set that we have, making sure they kind of used everything that was available to them. Dan would have really hated that match because it had baton pass and Kartana in it.
A lot of baton pass.
But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty crazy match. I don't think Cheryl deserved to get a -6 for the match, but it's just how the cookie crumbled. I'm sure she'll
The
bounce back.
differential is a lie.
Yeah, she'll bounce back pretty strong. But Evan is always one to preserve as much differential as he can, so I'm sure he's happy to get that. It's just Kartana is so scary, guys. Like,
Yeah, I feel like it's really a
He's-
Pokemon
it
that,
gets-
like, if it's on your opponent's team, you just need to have a check that can beat him with a Beast Boost. Like, all right, when this dies and he gets it up, this thing can come in and pressure it out 100% of the time.
yeah, like you need
On a
to have
scarfed
something.
hidden power fire at all times.
Like,
Either that or just, like, a Focus Sash or just a super bulky, like, Grass type or just something that can take it on.
See, in this little like rule set we have, a Scarf Hidden Power Fire might not even save you because he could pass.
Might
an
not be
agility.
good enough.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say he can baton pass agility, and it's like, well, GG.
Well,
So,
Cheryl has Talonflame, right? Like, that thing outspeeds it naturally, so...
Yeah, I mean,
Which is
she
better.
had Mega Diancie that outsped it naturally, but I can't remember right now if Kartana had any speed boost when Diancie came out, but I know that on that turn, the Kartana outsped Mega Diancie, and Mega Diancie didn't get to do anything.
Weird.
So, yeah, I don't know.
They've just been running it bulky.
It was an interesting match. Anyway, we can go on to the next one, which is the Typhlosions, which is newcomer Greg, who is coming off a pretty rough week against Evan last week. and the Scythers, which is Nick, and Nick's very interesting team with all his fun stuff. And this
fun baton.
This ended in a 6-1. Did anyone look into this match and want to go, or should I just take the reins?
I've got a big takeaway from it.
Go for it.
Just have to Mega Evolve your Pokemon.
Just Mega Evolve your fucking Mon. Just do it.
Okay, I have several things and I've told Greg personally, but I have to call him out on this, just publicly to maybe
shame him.
And maybe
wake him up.
One thing, he forgot a Z Crystal on a Pokemon as well.
Nice.
The second is obviously he forgot to Mega Evolve his Lop a second time, and it took him about 4 or 5 turns to realize that he wasn't Mega Evolved to then finally Mega Evolve at the penultimate turn.
It took him 5 turns?
It was the penultimate turn, and then he finally Mega Evolved.
I just don't really get it, because there's a giant button next to the moves. Mega Evolve, and it's all...
He was trying to catch someone with Q-Charge.
Press it.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's pretty easy to miss.
Yeah.
It's the most easy button to miss. It's kind of hidden, tucked away over there in the corner.
3.
Yeah, it only takes up half the screen. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They can make it easier to see.
3, looking at the damage from his moves, I don't think Greg knows that he actually has to raise his Lopunny's happiness for return to do more damage.
Oh.
So he's not doing that currently. So his return did 50% to a Ninjask.
Does that take time to raise your happiness?
See, I will give him a slight pass on that one, just because the people that do the genning, I mean, I normally point it out to people when they ask for return. I don't know if Ian normally does, but typically whenever you trade a Pokemon, its happiness goes back down to 70, and you have to work it all the way back up.
Different Pokemon actually have different base happinesses, and I think Lopunny is higher than 70. It's actually a little high.
Gotcha.
And to raise happiness, the quickest way really is to just stuff a bunch of berries in its mouth.
I was going to say just force feed it.
Yeah, that's why I became the berry farmer last season.
Last year, yeah.
I just stockpiled 600 EV berries that lowered special attack EVs and just kept feeding it to my Lop. And I told Greg that's what he should do, and I told him where to find the berries to start farming them. So we'll see if he does it or not. But yeah, those are my gripes for Greg. Another thing is Nick had 2 low tier Mons that actually had pretty decent performances in Goodra and Scrafty. So I'm 90% sure that Nick brought the same Goodra as last week, was just Assault Vest Goodra with a bunch of different special attacks.
Set. It's hilarious.
Pretty gross set, not gonna lie.
So fat.
And I don't know if Greg did any scouting or anything at all, but he brought a special sweeping Celesteela that just got completely walled as soon as Goodra came out.
I can talk to him about that one. I tried to run offensive Celesteela 10 times last season to very little effect. And there was 2 times I ran a defensive Celesteela, and it completely dominated the games.
Yeah.
So I know it's tempting to run offensive Celesteela, and you don't want to fall into the Celesteela trap. Reason it's one of the premier defensive Mons in the entire game, and it's because it's really good at being a defensive Mon.
I think the takeaway on that is that a lot of Pokemon in the Draft League format have a lot of sets that they can run. And while all of them have at least some kind of viability, there's a very specific case for some. Celesteela offensively can work really well in certain matchups, but it is definitely not one that you want to bring when they have an Assault Vest Goodra ready to go against you.
It should never be your win con just because.
Yeah. There should be a good reason.
Yeah, I think that we had a discussion before about, how some sets are heat sets and some sets are just unorthodox sets that people bring for the sake of them being different.
Right.
And that might have been...
There's the creative trap.
Yeah, and that might have been what...
Which Jacob and I I had a discussion with Jacob earlier this week about Empoleon, because I keep trying to fall into the creative trap with him.
Yeah.
Because it's a super versatile Mon, but fun with it. And I need to bring 6 Empoleons to every single game so I can actually run the sets I want to run.
It's like a weird plug, Zeshe. If you go and watch like the couple seasons that I had it, because I had him play on for like 3 seasons in a row, probably out of like the 30 some games, it probably showed up to like 90% of them. And in probably 90% of that 90%, it was just a tank with like stealth rocks and defog. And then the couple
really
times
good
that
at
it
that.
the couple times that it came with the other sets, like it was really standout performances. So you just really have to like find your shot and like take it just whenever it's there, kind of thing. Anyway, sorry to get back on topic.
Another Pokemon that did pretty well was Nick Scrafty. It just came in and got some Intimidates off. Did a lot of fake outing, which actually ended up.
Love Scrafty.
He actually, funnily enough, kind of basically picked up 3 KOs because of fake out, because he would fake them out and then they would die to whatever status infliction they had.
Oh, jeez.
That's smart.
Including the Megalop. The Megalop was poisoned, and then Scrafty came in, faked it out, and it died to poison. Which, yeah, it just worked out really well for him. There was one thing, when Greg had a free switch, he brought his Ditto out on rocks, and it just died. I don't know if he just didn't do the math, or if he was just a little scattered. I know when I first started playing on console, I was a bit scattered, and I didn't have, like, easy percentages up for me. I just didn't think about things. So
yeah, I had a difficult time with console when I first started really playing console, because I'm no down player. This is really the only format I ever play on console, and I still catch myself hitting a move and going to cancel it.
Yep.
And remember, you can't cancel on the DS.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And he likes to bring Ditto in on... I assume he's just bringing Scarf Ditto, as Ditto normally is. And he's bringing it in on... He's bringing it in on Mons that don't really like he brought it in on Slowbro. Like, you don't really want a Scarfed Slowbro. So I think he's got to think more about when he should bring Ditto, and when he should bring Ditto in. Anyway... I have a couple nicknames that I just wanted to talk about from that match. Greg has a Tentacruel named Mom's Best Toy.
Oh, no. All right, kick him out. He's out. Get him out of the league.
Wait, no. That reminded me of one of Cheryl's. Her Volcanion is named Volcanus, which I think is hilarious.
So I thought it was Volcanus, like, I don't know, like some, like, manly, masculine Volcanus, but
it's like an anus.
No, she said it's Volcanus, specifically.
Jesus.
But a slightly more tasteful nickname Greg has is he named his Flareon Mega Oricorio. So that was a funny little name. He dropped Oricorio for the Flareon, so he named it Mega Oricorio. I thought it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I understand why he did it. So I thought
is that the only Mega he's ever going to actually use?
Oh my God. You just killed him on the podcast.
Dan's KO counted up to 1.
That
in a graphic, Nick.
I also wanted to mention one thing is none of these battles were very long this week. The longest battle was Caterpies versus Entei, which was only just over 30 turns.
That was the longest match?
Yes. Yours was second. I think yours was second, Dan.
Okay.
I'm not sure how long yours was. Oh, no, that was yours. Duh.
I was going to say. I
forgot you were the Entei. So, yeah, that was yours. Yours was the longest one.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, moving along to the Quillfishes and the Picky Pecks. Has anyone seen that one and want to talk about it a little bit?
I know I talked to Ian about it. Let's hear Jake's description.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
I heard Jake's description of it, and we were just hanging out, and he just goes, Garchomp Swords Dance when I pick a peck out, and then, he just Swords Danced again, and I'm like, I almost looked at Jake and said, what happened? But then I'm like, I already know what happened. That was game right there.
Yeah.
It's like, my Toxapex got one-shot outraged by Garchomp. I'm like, yeah, that'll do it.
His Toxapex actually got earthquaked.
Was it earthquake? Okay. Well, yeah. I was gonna say, after a sword dance, that'll happen.
Yeah. And that's basically the entire match. Ian started with his what's it called? His Sableye. And then burned the Pick-a-Peck. Then brought in...
Well, that's the game right there.
Yeah, he burned Pick-a-Peck, so the huge threat that is Pick-a-Peck is now gone. And then he brought in Garchomp, set up stealth rocks, 2 swords dances, while Jake was just like gunk shotting the Garchomp.
Yeah, he was telling me he was trying to get the poison, it just wasn't going, and then he knew at that point that was it.
Yeah.
He said his plan was to get the poison off and then just go, okay, well now Garchomp has to leave, right? And in the back of my head, I'm like, I mean, kinda.
Yeah, I mean,
really?
he'd just take your whole team with you before that poison did anything.
Yeah.
I think his mistake is leaving. I'm not gonna fault him for bringing Pick-a-Peck because it's like his meme thing.
Oh yeah.
But maybe don't leave Pick-a-Peck in while this Garchomp is setting up on you. I don't know.
Did he? I did not get to watch this match. Did he bring Alolan Ninetales or no?
I don't believe he did.
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing it.
In my mind, that's also kind of like a big mistake. Like, I get that it's weak to Mega Scizor, like pretty heavy, but that is almost a perfect check to regular Garchomp. Like, you just come in, you're faster than it, you hit it hard enough with a nice beam, it's going down.
Yeah, I mean, you could even Blizzard. You could Blizzard.
Yeah, because you have 100% because the hail, like, it's going down.
Yeah, I
don't even Moonblast if you
Yeah.
feel like predicting, I don't know, ice resist
like
or
a Yachi Berry or something. Like,
Alolan Ninetales has 109 speed. Wow.
Yeah,
like it's fast.
Yeah, it's quick. It low. I think it has lower special attack, but when you have such high BP moves, I mean lower special attack than regular Ninetales is what I mean by that.
No, they took the 9 from attack of a regular Ninetales and gave it speed.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, with such high BP moves, it doesn't really matter that your special attack isn't that high.
It's 81, but like, does it really matter when you're hitting that hard?
But yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot more to talk about. Garchomp's definitely the MVP. There is one thing I want to talk about is Jake's Salamence did not outspeed Garchomp. Because Garchomp is higher speed, I forgot. So yeah, he was in trouble.
Chomp's 102.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Mega Chomp, which was 92. So yeah, like
that was why Mega Chomp sucks.
Okay, so I guess my point about this is he brought Salamence in on a free switch and then swapped out while Garchomp just outraged something. Which I guess it did work out for him that way because Garchomp then killed like 2 things with outrage, but then got confused, and then Salamence came in, Garchomp hit itself, and he took down Garchomp or something along those lines.
Yeah, that was Ian's only loss was to confusion.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess that play got him Garchomp.
A Scarf Salamence just to
that's
kind of on him.
You can run Scarf Moxie. You basically got a makeshift Kartana there.
Yeah. Anyway. That match is done. We can go into one of the better matches. So these next 2 matches are 2 of the closest matches we've had this week. And this one is between Dan and Isaiah. So I'm just going to let Dan kind of take it away with this match.
So I feel like this match came down to literally the last 3 turns there. There was a lot of whittling on both sides here. He had so many Mons built to survive a lot of my attacks on like 10 HP. I suffered from he brought half of what I expected him to bring. That I'm
classic
kind of what I'm just basically just going for part of the season is just they bring half of what I expect and I kind of have to fumble my way through the battle.
Out of curiosity, what half did you expect him to bring and what half did you not expect?
The half I expected him to bring was Hippowdon, which is obvious.
Yeah.
Gardevoir, which is also obvious, and then Aerodactyl. The half I expected him to bring that he didn't, and Latias, so it's 4. I was fully expecting Mega Beedrill and Suicune. I had Foul Play on Mandibuzz for Beedrill, and I had Grass Knot on Thundurus for both Hippowdon and Suicune, because I thought the obvious switch when you have a Suicune against a Thundurus is Hippowdon. And then just surprise, not even go for a Thunder move and just go for Grass Knot, which did like 80, 90, depending on the roll.
Yeah.
With the sets I made there. And he didn't bring Suicune, so my Politoed was effectively useless. He kind of came out there with Water Absorb, Damp Rock, Rain Dance, and Whirlpool Toxic.
I saw he came out and there was no rain that happened, and I was like, did Dan do it again?
No, that was on purpose. That was 100% on purpose. Because the whole plan was to Whirlpool something, Perish Song, then Rain Dance, and then probably die, and then switch into Ludicolo to Z.
Oh, yeah.
And then speaking of Z Ludicolo,
Yeah.
hey man, that fat crit damage on Cobalion, Sub-Zero Slammer, did 15% off
Yeah.
the crit. Hell yeah.
His Ludicolo used like Z Ice Beam, I'm assuming.
Blizzard.
Oh, Z Blizzard.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
It used Z Blizzard, and Cobalion came in. He got a crit Z Blizzard, and it did like 15% still.
It did fucking nothing, and that was just so deflating. Where I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, that's the obvious switch, yeah, but like, I'm like, I'll get some good chip damage on this thing. It did fucking nothing. Oh. But the clutch play on my end here was getting Excadrill in there, getting the Sandstorm off, so I outsped everything that he had, and knowing that his Aerodactyl was scarfed, I went for Iron Head. Because he had, at that point, I think he had Cobalion left, Aerodactyl left, and Latias left.
Mm-hmm.
So I took out Cobalion, and I was basically sweating at this point, because I'm like, if he brings out Latias, like, that's game. Because Latias will survive this, because at this point, Metronome is not going to have enough damage with Iron Head to get the kill here. It will kill, it'll one-shot Aerodactyl, and then have enough to kill Latias.
Mm. Yeah, I don't.
And thankfully, he switched to Aerodactyl. I got the Iron Head off, and then got the Metronome boost enough to kill Latias the next turn.
At that point, wasn't his Latias like under half?
Yes, but based on the I didn't check his set, but I think it was HP invested too.
Okay.
He might have been.
Yeah, I think.
But I was doing calcs on my own. I think at that point it was a roll of whether or not it would kill after one Iron Head.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure because I wasn't adamant. I was jolly to make sure I outsped everything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I guess one thing I have to bring up just because I have to, and I don't know whether or not this would have changed the results, but I do know it made Isaiah sweat more. Is that you got a crit flinch Iron Head on his Shaman?
Yes.
With that Excadrill, which kind of just took his Shaman down for good there. But if you were Metronome, it would have gone down eventually, but I think Isaiah could have got a lot more chip off of your Excadrill.
At that point, I don't think it mattered.
Yeah,
because he didn't hit Excadrill for the rest of the map.
Yeah, but he might have. Yeah, I don't know. He might not have hit Excadrill anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm not going to sit here and say it didn't matter, but at that point, I think it was. He had to have gotten. He might have wasted one more Sandstorm turn, which may have helped.
Yeah,
but I can't say for certain.
Yeah, I mean it would have been one more Sandstorm turn, one more Leech Seed off of you, maybe like if he I don't know Giga Drained you or Leaf Stormed you or something, would have been a little chip, but. Regardless,
that thing
you won it.
That thing didn't want to fucking die.
Yeah,
that thing didn't want to go down.
Looking at the damage, I'm pretty sure that was a defensive Shaman, made to just counter your Swampert or your Excadrill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was down to the wire, to be honest. Your Thundurus only had about 30% left, and your Excadrill sitting around half, I think. Yep. But Excadrill cleaned up. In terms of like him not bringing Mega Beedrill, if I had to surmise a guess as to why, it would be because with your weather team, like half your stuff would outspeed his Beedrill anyway.
Yeah. And that's what I noticed myself. It's like I outspeed everything. He can't take a hit, but I'm going to prep for Mega Beedrill just in case he brings it, and if I don't prep for it, I'm fucked. So I'm not taking any risks.
Well, yeah, so that was a good match. But I think at that point we can kind of just. You have any thoughts, Jacob, on what you've heard?
I mean, the only real thing I'd like to chime in is like another point for the Beedrill is like look at how many just like Earthquakers you have on your team and also potential Stealth Rock setters. Like I do not want to bring a Beedrill into something looking like that. That's just a no-go for me. Yeah,
definitely.
Especially with Lycan Rock Dust too.
Even with like just Scarfnia Lego, like.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is,
your team just has so many natural like counterplay to a Mega Beedrill.
And before we get off my match here, I do. Yeah, no. on a sand team that has, well, I guess a team that has Hippowdon. But I do want to just, right before we get off my match, do a quick Schultzy slurp down.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
That was
Sprite.
That's karma. That's karma right there.
I'm happy
All
that's
right.
happening to you.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah, I
you're
am
choking.
You know what?
While he chokes, why don't you go to your match, Sachet?
Okay, so my match was a 6-5, and it actually came down as a 6-5 with Breloom living at 1 HP match.
What?
Literally as close
No,
as possible.
here's the thing.
Holy shit.
Oh, actually, no. You had some grassy terrain recovery.
He had grassy terrain healing at the end, but really, he survived. It was all calculated.
Yeah. Was it though?
I never felt out of control in this game. My game plan going in, like the team I drafted, is defensively, it's a fairly versatile team. And I brought, I think, didn't bring last week, including Clefairy, and then Drodagon and Raikou showed up along with Empoleon, Tapu Bulu, and Breloom. Game plan was basically to get hazards up because of Mega Pinsir. Clefairy is fat as hell.
Yeah, for the record, Jacob,
and just takes attacks.
Right.
Clefairy took Landorus's U-turn, followed by a return from Mega Pinsir, followed by a quick attack from Mega Pinsir, and got a Thunder Wave
And
off
finally,
on the Mega Pinsir.
finally
Christ,
died to a
dude, that is
facade
some
after I paralyzed it.
Yeah.
Is Clefairy
So-
fatter than Clefable with the EVLate?
I can't do the math, but it took some.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna guess
It's really fat.
I'm gonna guess from a stat perspective, it probably is, but the difference is like leftovers or whatever other item you might
The
have.
HP.
to close
And
it
less-
up.
And
Probably
access
But
to
then it
unaware.
can't do anything back. So
Mhm,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, and the inability.
That's why I used it for rocks. I brought 2 rockers with me, and I could bluff 3 because I had Empoleon. And the whole point of the team was just on absolutely everything until Breloom could come in, set up, and take the cake. Because Breloom has that unique ability of destroying late game. And I ran Focus Sash on it, trusting David to not bring rocks because I figured he would want to have a defog instead. He actually didn't defog. He kept my rocks up the whole game and didn't have his own rocks. Disgustingly powerful hyper offense team where his 3 biggest attackers all have attack stats over 140.
Jesus.
They also have speed stats under like 110 now.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are less than 100.
His whole team is sub 100 except for like 1 or 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it's like just Mega Pinsir, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sigilyph? I think?
So
No, Siglif's under 100.
96, I think.
Yeah.
It's
97?
something right in there. Who knows? I don't know.
I'll
But
find out
basically,
right now.
I literally just looked it up. It's 97.
Yeah.
the team, I run down to the point where Breloom could switch in, Tapu Bulu, A to Z Fly, which I knew Breloom would force him to use,
Regular fly.
which let me set up with Swords Dance, let me use my Focus Sash, and the rest of his team from there. So it was a very calculated, very in control, but still kind of risky and dangerous.
Yeah, just
6-5.
dangling off the edge.
Yeah,
We're calm, but we are
was a really
dangling
fun battle,
off the edge.
nothing. No horseplay happened. There was no hacks. There's really, I don't think any flinches. I don't think there's any critical hits.
Yeah, I don't really recall.
I
any of
don't
that.
think he was full parried ever, and I paralyzed a couple of his people. I just think played out exactly the way. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I just like the way that Breloom kind of pulled it out in the end. Because like just
that's why I picked him. That's why he's my boy.
yeah, just you got that sword stance up and took out the Lando with Bullet Seed, and then you
The
kind of
speed,
just
'cause I knew I'd
mock
survive
punch.
the fly.
You just mock punch the rest of the way there.
Teams have this flaw, and it's actually a lot of Pokemon in the entire game. They have a flaw of not surviving a +2 Mach Punch from Breloom pretty well.
Yeah, that's a pretty common.
Unfortunately, next week I get the one Pokemon who does it better, where I have to fight Scizor. So
Yeah.
or Mega Scizor at that.
Yeah. I just want to talk about you had a a nickname that I appreciated, Il Grosser, the Drudagon.
Drudagon is Il Grosser.
That's great.
And I have my own personal nickname that is really just to get at the heart of Ian Schultz himself. So when you think of Raikou and his kin, what's Ian's biggest complaint about those three, Raikou, Suicune, and Entei? Does anyone remember?
That they're dogs and not cats.
Or something
They're
like
not
that.
dogs.
Yeah.
Or like whatever
whatever stance he takes.
They're beasts. He's beast stance. I named Raikou Dewey after Ian's dog.
Oh no!
Oh, nice.
So he saw the name and he says, "Fuck you! They're not dogs." And I was like, "He's your dog."
Rough.
Yeah, that's
particularly
pretty good.
proud.
Dan got it. Let's go.
Also, one thing I learned this match is that Hyperspace Fury is non-contact.
Yeah, because the first
Really?
the first move of the game, he power-up punched with a Life Orb Hoopa against a rough skin Rocky Helmet
shit.
Drudagon and took about 50% without me hitting him.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage like off the bat, and then he Hyperspace Furied and didn't take any of the Rocky Helmet or the.
If that Mon wasn't so slow, a power-up punch Hoopa Unbound is the scariest fucking thing.
I mean, there are
Holy
ultimate,
fuck.
there are definitely ways he can make that Hoopa faster, but
Yeah.
we'll see if he does it. Just moving on from that match, then we have the Ludicolo versus the Dunsparce, which you can see is a 6-0. This is a truer
This one was
6-0.
a real 6-0.
Yes.
This one's
It's gotta
real.
happen, and it's always gotta be Bisharp.
Yeah,
It's always Bisharp.
Raul did not proactively answer a Bisharp setting up in front of him, and it kind of just tore through his team. When Raul had an opportunity to kill the Bisharp, he then decided to U-turn with his Tapu Koko instead of just Thunderbolt it. And
Dude's got one of the best Bisharp answers in Coco Lucha.
Yeah, he switched Lucha in on a hit, and just got one shot.
See,
by
now
an
here's
Iron
my
Head.
question, right? And this is something that I've kind of been talking to Raul about a bunch, because, again, unfortunately, I didn't get to see this battle. But how many Pokemon did Bisharp take out before Coco finally came in?
Probably like 2 or 3.
Coco should have been in after the first Sword
Yeah,
Stand.
so, like,
Yeah.
well, not even necessarily, like, the way that I see it, right, is, like, if a Bisharp gets up 2 Swords Dances, right, or whatever,
Yeah.
and takes out one of your Pokemon, the first question should be, okay, do I have anybody that can survive a move from this, right?
Yes.
And then you go through your whole team, calculating it against the 2+2 Bisharp, and then you see, oh, Tapu Koko can outspeed him and not die to a +4 Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
So let me just bring that in now as my immediate answer. That way, instead of losing all 6 Pokemon to it, you just lose 1 Pokemon to it, and then you can transition that after like a Thunderbolt or whatever into your Lucha to try to get your own sweep going on.
Yeah, and I think so. Raul went out the first time, and U-turned instead of Thunderbolting. So then he brought in Hawlucha on that after that U-turn. Hawlucha got one shot.
Oh my god.
And then he brought.
It was just the execution was.
And then he brought a couple other things in, and then finally brought Tapu Koko back in. And then he Thunderbolted, but at that point Chris swapped out, knowing he's gonna Thunderbolt this time. So he swapped out into Gastrodon.
He had no option but to.
Yeah. So then he swapped out into Gastrodon, and Raul didn't get any KOs. So we'll see. Raul needs to I don't know what's going on with him lately, but he needs to slow down and think.
Yeah, I just think that's his pain point. If you look at the battle last week too, where it was me versus him, Gengar got 2 KOs, and he really shouldn't have gotten both of those. All you had to do was think about okay, I saw that it's Life Orb, it's not Scarf. I've got a Pokemon that's way faster than it. I'm gonna bring that one in to take it out instead of cycling through Pokemon that you think can take a hit and then they can't.
Yeah, it's not a good mentality to play with. But we'll see if he improves. He has a really good team, and he has the ability to, or is it?
He's a fucking
the
OU team, is what he has.
The team has
got
the
a
ability
ladder
to come
team.
back. His team's not bad. But we'll see. That's kind of all I really wanted to say about that match, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go into
now to the fun one.
Yeah, the final match we had.
All right.
Is Hoopas and Santlers which is me and Jacob. And I think, it's Jacob's time to say what he needs to say.
Just hear Jacob. All right.
Okay. So I'm going to preface this by saying it was a really good battle up until when it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, like, the beginning was really interesting because we had an Ambipom versus Gengar start. So it was kind of like you can't use your, like, normal moves against me. But at the same time, I might die to one of your hits. But the cool thing was that despite Ambipom going for knockoff and Gengar living with the Focus Sash, the Cursed Body actually came in pretty clutch there because it stopped Ambipom from being able to get just the quick KO on him. Mm-hmm. And I don't think did you have U-turn on it?
No, I had taunt, knockoff, and then stabs.
And then like normal stab. Yeah. So after getting that, it was like, okay, he like has to switch now because he can't swing into me, which kind of gave me like a very easy KO on Venusaur. I was not expecting Venusaur to drop that fast, but it was like a Psychic on the switch, and then another Psychic just took it out immediately. No, go ahead.
I realized I was very foolish for doing that because I could have I didn't really look into it, but I realized now that Florges actually, I had max special defense Florges, and even your Sludge Wave only did like half. So Florges was definitely a better switch in probably. But whatever.
This is a beast mon, dude. That thing is good.
Yep.
It really is. Its physical defense just kind of holds it back. Anyway, so after that happened, and then Gengar went down to, oh god, I think Ambipom came back in, I want to say. Either way, got into I don't even remember what happened after that, but basically, we kept doing like some trades back and forth until we got to the point where Gliscor got to slap off a baton pass onto Zeraora with a Swords Dance, which felt real nice.
Oh.
Yeah, it felt really nice. But then after Zeraora got a kill on somebody, I forget who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, it was on Ambipom, right? Because you went for the fake out to get the chip damage.
Yeah, my fake out, Ambipom came in, did a fake out, did like 40% with the fake out.
Jesus Christ.
It was a lot of damage. But then Zach brought in Victini, and I was like, I even messaged him like on the turn. I was like, is this a bluff of a Choice Scarf? Because like Victini was one of the ones where it was like, okay, Zach could have done literally anything with this Pokemon, and I need to know which one it is. And that was the main reason that I sacked off Zeraora there. Like, part of me wanted to save it and just switch out to Gyarados and maybe get an Intimidate into a V-Create kind of thing. But at the same time, I need to know if it's Scarf, because if it's not and I switch it in and either A, he makes a predict on Bolt Strike, or B, just like isn't locked into his moves and is faster than Gyarados, can just kill me on the switch anyway, then that kind of screws me. So I stayed in and died to a V-Create. Kind of regret that move, but it is what it is. So things kept on happening. Zach got a really, really solid taunt off on Gyarados. It was like an Intimidate Gyarados. This Gyarados was super fire, by the way. It was Dragon Dance with Natural Gift with a Landsat Berry as a Ghetto Z-Bounce. Yeah, Ghetto like Z. The big oof. But we kept, so he got that great taunt off. And things kept going down until I believe it was like 3-3. I think it was Mew, Gyarados. No, it was Mew, Gliscor, and Klefki. And it was Victini, Greninja, and Florges. Is I think who was left.
Yeah, I believe so.
So at this point, it was like Victini had just used a Bolt Strike and was choice locked in. And Gliscor came into that. So I used an EQ on the switch into Greninja. And this is where stuff got absolutely nutty. Because... Gliscor got a crit. Greninja. Yeah, Gliscor got a crit onto Greninja, which knocked it down instead of just under half, down to Torrent range. And then I immediately switched out, keeping Gliscor at full HP, because my plan from this point onward, was to bring in Klefki, because I knew that it wouldn't die to anything that wasn't a crit from a Choice Specs Greninja. Set up a light screen, so that way Mew can survive a Black Hole Eclipse or any other crazy thing that he might decide to do. And, that way, Gliscor can win the 1v1 against Victini, and basically either of them beat Florges because Mew had Psyshock. Anyway, so Klefki came in and gets hit by a critical hit, torrent-boosted Hydro Pump, which made me think that it was Choice Specs because of the torrent boost. But like at that point, it didn't really matter anyway, because I could either bring in Gliscor to die to a Hydro Pump, or I could bring Mew to die to also a Specs Hydro Pump. So either way, it didn't really matter.
So basically, you're hoping for a miss at that point from Hydro
Yeah,
Pump.
exactly. So like it was the match was very interesting and very fun, and anybody should go watch it. Right up until the point where all the crits happened, where all of the strategy went out the window.
Yeah.
And like I'm not mad. Like I'm mad about it. Like at the RNG, obviously I'm not mad.
Mad at you, Zach.
Yeah,
He's mad at Zach.
He wants to fight. He knows your address. He's on his way right now. He's coming to beat your ass.
Like I know that Zach played a really good battle anyway. So it's not like oh I deserve to win but I lost. But it was a very tight battle. And then as soon as that happened, it just kind of like pulled the rug out from under my feet, and Zach took the W from there.
Yeah. Like as soon as I got that crit and Okode his Klefki, he's like, you're damn choice Specs Greninja, and I was like, yeah. I just wrote like ... haha.
Yeah, I mean, because like I'm sitting here and I'm looking through all the calcs trying to figure out what it is, and even with choice specs, which is just as strong as a torrent boost anyway, so either one on its own didn't KO the Klefki. It had to be a torrent crit or a specs crit. Like it had to be one of those two.
So yeah, he said that and then threw his Mew out, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna Z Dark Pulse now and show him that I am not choice specs. And then he's like, well, how the hell did you kill me then?
And like 2 seconds later, I was like, oh, Torrent, no! It's like, as the guy who's abused this so many times, why? But yeah, so I mean, Zach definitely we both had a good battle, so he definitely deserved the win. It just sucked that that's how it came out, instead of us both kind of like showing like the end of the game grit type gameplay.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I would say I did not deserve a 6-3 to say the least.
Yeah, like I think if we kept going, it would have come down to like either a Victini versus Gliscor showdown or a like Florges versus Gliscor, and I don't know what moves you have in Florges.
No, Florges cannot take your Gliscor. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
it had to been a Victini.
So who knows? Either way, whatever, it's fine.
And I had Glaciate on Victini just because I wanted to hit your Gliscor with it.
That would have been tight.
But yeah, so that's all for the matches that we had this week. After those matches, we kind of have the standings that I can pull up now. So here's our conference standings for each conference. We can see that since Cheryl lost to Evan and Jacob and I battled each other, that only leaves one undefeated team left in the Eastern Conference. So I'm up there right now, but who knows how long I'll be there.
Gotta keep it going, my dude. Gotta keep it going.
Gotta keep it going. Interestingly enough, Chris actually jumped all the way up to second place because of his +6 match this week.
And that'll do it.
Against Raul. So he's 1-1 with a +2, and Jacob is right behind with a 1-1, a very even differential right now.
I'm just glad that after a +6, he's still only 2 ahead of me. That just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Once again, I am going to get absolutely boned by differential. That's always where my record falls.
Mm-hmm.
I play fast and I play loose, and I have a lot of very late game win cons. Is not the preservation style.
Yeah, you don't have to have the preservation style. It's not everyone's style.
I love a good stack.
See, mine plays like, sorry for going on a tangent here, but mine plays kind of the same of like I play like fast, but the thing is I play really tight in terms of I have a win condition usually, and I'm very very deliberate about who I'm going to sack off at certain points, but I'm okay with sacking stuff whenever.
Right, yeah, I'm very comfortable with the sack.
Dan and the Entei got their win and just snuck up right behind Jacob, so he's only one KO behind Jacob right now in the standings.
Oh no! Smell ya.
And my two buddies are struggling right now.
you brought some strength to the league here, my friend.
Well, Raul was in the league before me. Yeah, and then Isaiah. I think Isaiah's just struggling right now, but I think Isaiah will do better.
There's a learning curve. Up until there was a time last season I was 3-4 or 3-5 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Things changed, so there's a learning curve.
When the Magearna attacked,
I was gonna say things changed, including Ash Greninja.
Well, there was that, and I kind of learned how to build my team and how to play a little bit better.
Yeah.
I stopped trying to get super creative with my sets. I started to kind of settle into what everything could do and really learn my team. And yeah, there was the Asker Ninja factor. We actually really... Okay, we could talk about prep, but Asker Ninja got like 3 kills the whole season. He really didn't do that much.
Yeah, his presence was the biggest impact.
Yeah, it's the presence. Anyway,
yeah,
about last season.
Yeah, we're talking about this season, guys.
Pokemon with the most presence is Delibird.
Yeah, he's got some big energy. Anyway,
just gonna let that one go.
Yeah, I'm gonna remain PG. I'll allow you guys to do whatever you want. So yeah, Raul is way down there, but if we look over to the Western Conference, Raul is not at the complete bottom right now.
Oh my God, -10.
We have the Typhlosions here they've had back-to-back 6-1s or something along those lines. So he has been, and he faced the 2 teams up top that are 2-0 right now. So I mean, he did have a tougher schedule, but also I think he's made a lot of mistakes, and those were kind of free wins for the other people.
Is that what you call not mega evolving? Mistakes?
Yeah. Well, there's more than that.
Okay.
But so just looking at the top of the Western Conference, we've got Evan, who, it's kind of where we'd expect him to be.
Generally sits up there.
So someone I didn't expect to be up there is Nick.
Especially with that team.
Yeah, especially Nick with his team. And if you actually think about it, Nick is higher in the overall standings than I am. Because he has +8 and I have +7. So Nick is actually...
It is only 2 games.
Yeah, it is it's only 2 games, so it will change. Especially since Nick and Evan face each other this upcoming week. So there will only be 1 undefeated team left in that Western Conference. So that'll be interesting. Ian got some good wins to bring himself up to 3rd with a better differential. Yeah, the rest have kind of just settled out in the middle. Zashay, you did get your win, but you didn't get a very big win. It was only +1.
I told you, differential.
Yeah. And since you lost your head-to-head with Jake, he will be sitting ahead of you right now.
Yep.
So that's just kind of how the standings have worked out right now. So moving into talks about next week, we're already 47 minutes in, so I don't know how long we're gonna take on this, but
just do a prediction.
Yeah, I don't. We'll look at some things.
Prediction. And give 1 10-sentence why.
Yeah, but we're just gonna look at the rosters on each team. There's only 2 changes that happened this week, and that is Ian dropping Sylveon to pick up Tangrowth, which I actually think is super interesting because I wanted Sylveon over Florges, so I might be looking at that right now. And then I
wanted
I dropped Uxie for Blissey. So those are the only changes that happened this week. And then I think we can go ahead and get into next week's matchups just to try to get this train rolling.
Let's go for it.
So
make your predictions. Let's put money on them.
Here are all the matches here for week 3. We're gonna go through them all here. So first match is the Dunsparce versus Jacob and the Stantlers. So Zashay, give me your 10 cents. Go.
For the Mega matchup, I think Jacob's got the edge. I think he'll find a good way to play around that. Mega Sceptile does some work to the team. Checks and balances. Early game, I'm going to have to say it goes to Jacob.
Yeah, my 10 cents is that Chris's team is actually very slow, and Chris doesn't do anything that's too unorthodox, so I think Jacob will have good plans to take care of them. So I'm going to go with Jacob winning. Dan, what's your thoughts?
Same deal. I think Chris has a lot of... he's going to have some tricks up his sleeve here, especially with, I think, Zygarde is going to be the main focus here for him. But I'm going to give it to Jacob, too. There's too much speed on his team.
And Jacob, I ask
what do you think?
What you think?
So I'm going to predict me just for the sake of being confident about it.
Yeah. If you didn't predict you, I would kick you from the chat.
What I will say about Chris, what I'll say about Chris though, is that he does have a very solid battle sense, like when he's playing. He's just going to, moving forward, really need to start digging deeper into these Pokemon's move pools and figuring out what kind of sets he can bring that aren't just ripped straight off of Smogon pages, because that makes it a lot easier to plan for when you can pull it up and see, oh, hey, like Zygarde usually runs 128 defense, and then just magically Chris's Zygarde also runs 128 defense.
Or like just really basic move sets. Like I haven't seen like a real creative move set from him yet.
Yeah, like
I want to see weak armor Skarmory.
Exactly. So I mean, like I hope that he brings something like that, so it's a really interesting battle. But if he doesn't, then I think I'll have the edge. So
yeah, we'll go into the next one. We're gonna switch up order. Ludicolo's versus Hoopas. Dan, what do you think about this? Ludicolo.
So I really want Raul to have a comeback here. I really want to give Raul something here, but I don't know, man. That's just that Mega Venusaur is going to be hard to take down, as it always is, and I don't know. Just with the way Raul's been going lately, I got to give it to you, Zach.
Zache, what do you think?
Raul's team is scary. Raul's team does have good answers for Mega Venusaur.
Yeah.
For sure.
But also, I'm going to give you the edge.
Okay.
Just because.
Okay. Jacob, what do you think?
So I think from a team building standpoint, Raul could build a team that could theoretically slap like really hard in this scenario.
Absolutely.
It's going to come down to execution. Like if Raul can play a solid game, then I think he'll actually be able to take it. But I'm going to give it to Zach just based off consistency.
I'm also going to predict that I can pull this one out, but I do fully expect Raul to seek help from other good battlers in this league who might help him make a really good team for me. So I am.
Raul has never once come from. No, he came to me for help once, and I gave him Life Orb Alamamala. So that's probably why he hasn't come back for help.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know that I'm talking about you.
Shots fired.
I think I'm more talking about. I'm pretty sure Raul's going to end up talking to Jacob at some point this week to help him build a team.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So I am going to have to try as hard as possible as if I am playing Jacob with this team. So
watch out.
That's the plan. So we're gonna go into next week.
To me, dude.
The next matchup, and that is the Entei versus the Wheels, which I actually think will be an interesting matchup.
This is
Jacob. What do you think? You can go first.
Looking like my match.
Oh man, this one is so wonky just because of how like weather works, and with Manaphy potentially also wanting to set up a rain. I think just from team archetypes alone, I think Dan can actually pull this one out. But I think that this game is probably going to be the closest one of the week, in my opinion.
Yes.
But I'm gonna give it to Dan. I'm gonna root for the boy Thunderous.
The boy Thunderous, just for Thunderous.
Yeah, the boy.
Just remember that it learns Flash Cannon.
Yeah. If you look at this,
I'm actively looking at sets right now.
Like
learn steel moves.
So yeah, steel moves. I'm gonna jump in and say that Thunderous actually can put a decent chunk in this team.
He's definitely on the starting list.
Just because I don't want us to all agree on every matchup, I'm going to go against Dan to drive him and motivate him to prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not a slight. On
So I'm going to go for Cheryl, but I think it's going to be very, very close, and I'm interested to see if Cheryl brings her own Weather Leg Z Rain Dance or something like that. So
yeah, and I just want to clarify on mine, like this is going to be the closest match, in my opinion.
Yes. Zache, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time picking a winner for this one because every time I see a Mon that can break through the other team, they've got a really distinct for it. So, in the end, I'm going to go with Cheryl, and because I just really like Mega DNC, and that's my reasoning. I like aesthetically Mega DNC. This is going to be a really good battle, and if you guys disappoint us, I'm not being friends with either of you.
That's fair.
Okay,
so
Dan.
Be sure to disappoint then.
Dan, tell us what you think.
On paper, first look here, I think a lot of things we have counter each other. Like basically, our threats counter each other's threats pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to come down to what each other brings, and then just how he kind of answered everything. Because I'm looking at Volcano right now. He can tear a hole through my team.
Okay.
Dragonite can tear a hole through my team. Yeah, Volcanus. My apologies. And Scarf Superior is always something that I'm just terrified of.
Yeah,
I mean, it's such a simple set, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Like,
and you have to be aware.
What are you gonna do? Predict it?
You have to be aware of what speed something has to be with a Scarf to outspeed like a Mega Swampert in Rain and things like that. So you got to keep a lot of that stuff in check. I think.
Yeah.
I don't doubt you, Dan. I think you could pull it out, but I'm just that I made my prediction.
This one's close. Yeah.
Looking at it right now, I mean, I'm confident. Obviously, I know this is gonna be a close one because there's a lot of shenanigans she can do with her team.
Yeah. The next one is the Caterpies and the Typhlosions. So these are the two. They're 2 0-2 teams. Someone's getting their first win.
Someone has to win.
Come on, Ty.
All right, Zashay, what do you think?
I really like the Caterpies team.
Just because there's a hippo on it.
I love Hippodon. And Hippodon checks a lot of Greg's more powerful threats.
Yeah.
Mega Beedrill is able to outspeed just about everything on the team and will be useful in this match. I think his lower tier picks have a lot of power or a lot of utility.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like what into this. I also like that we're getting Latios versus Latias.
Yeah, the Latios showdown.
Mm-hmm.
About nice. Evan and Cheryl, this past week we had Umbreon versus Espeon.
Yeah, which we forgot to mention are named He Baby and She Baby. Are the
and coincidentally, my Clefairy is named I'm Baby. I didn't know about their nicknames. So
we have a competition of 3 babies.
Clefairy is Baby. Caterpies in this.
Zashay, you there?
You said he's going
not come through. I said I'm going Caterpies.
I didn't hear you. Okay, I'm going into this. I'm going to take the Caterpies as well. I think Isaiah has gone through some of his learning curve, and I think Greg has still yet to start the learning curve because he hasn't been doing the basic stuff to begin with. Greg has a really cool team. I think Isaiah's team counters it pretty well though, and I think Isaiah will have some pretty interesting things he brings to this week. So we'll see. I think Greg might also be a kind of person that doesn't dig too deeply into Pokemon's movesets, and I know Isaiah actually is someone that will dig deep into movesets. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going with the Caterpies to get their first win of the season. Dan, what do you think?
Same deal here. Just taking a quick look at the teams here. I mean, like you were saying, I know Isaiah is much more in depth with the research here than Greg is. And, Mega Evolving could be key here. So, I'm already counting Greg out.
Could be very important in this matchup.
Could be pretty important.
He's going to surprise you all with cute Charm Lopunny, I'm telling you now.
Yeah, right? He's just going to show up and just go, well, the rules say I don't have to Mega Evolve first turn, and you all made fun of me for it.
Greg has also not been bringing Fake Out on his Lopunny. I would recommend bringing Fake Out at some point in time this season.
Yeah, but it's going to be Caterpies all the way.
And then Jacob, any of your wise thoughts for this match?
Well, I'm not gonna make you guys wait on it. I'm also going with the Caterpies on this one.
Okay.
That being said, I do think that there are a couple key Pokemon on both sides of the matchup that can really sway how this goes. I'm not going to give all of them away because I know talking about strategies isn't necessarily the big things. Yeah. But I will give ones to watch on both sides, and I hope that Gardevoir and Mamoswine come, and I hope that they have really good matches because both of those Pokemon can give a lot of trouble to a lot of stuff on the other side.
Yes. All right, then we have the Quillfishes and the Porygon Zed. Zashay, I'm going to actually have you be the first one for here. You there, Zashay?
He's dead.
Oh, he died.
He has in fact died.
Okay, well, then we're going to go to Dan. What do you think, Dan?
I mean, doing the quick look here again, I really like the way Zashay's team counters Ian's initial core here. Camera Up slaps on a lot of these things here, and the things that Camera Up doesn't slap on, he can go Raikou or Empoleon to kind of clean up and tank here. So on matchup wise, I'm going Zacier. It's gonna be Zacier for me.
I might give Ian this one. I don't know. I've heard that Ian took Tangrowth specifically for a lot of the threats that Zacier has, and it does have a decent matchup with a lot of them.
Specifically from Ian. He told me that specifically.
Okay.
He texted
He's
me
back.
that.
He lives.
So yeah, I might give Ian the edge here because if Ian plays around things, I think he can take the match. Yeah, I'll put it this way: if Ian doesn't try to get too cute, he can win this match. Zacier, what do you think now that you're back?
Okay, so this is one I've been looking forward to this for a very long time because Ian is the one who got me into this league. Ian and I spent our whole undergrad and college playing Pokemon together, and we actually didn't have an official battle last year. We did one as a fill-in battle, but it was just kind of a joke with teams we already had. Mm-hmm. So this is my first real battle with Ian, who's someone whose play style I'm used to with Ian. And in our undergrad, I was completely undefeated against Ian. So,
hold on, I didn't have that information.
Go
ahead.
The people who played Pokemon in the Kent State School of Music, I was completely undefeated. So, I remember one guy where I told him, don't bring any legendaries, and he rolls up with like Rayquaza and Groudon, and I was like, what do you think a legendary is? And I kicked his ass with a Whimsicott.
Oh, Jesus.
Ian's team is really good. Ian's team is really hard to have one or two strong win cons and strong counters for. I'm going to have to a lot and kind of reach into my bag of tricks for this one.
I'm going to say this real quick for Zacier. I don't know, man. You got a big uphill battle going here. He's got Jolteon, the most valuable Pokemon.
He does, but I have value Jolteon and Raikou.
Yes.
Oh.
No, yours is like yours is off-brand, like German, right? Or German.
Yeah, I have great value Jolteon, the Walmart brand.
Anyway, that's gonna be a meme that just continues on for seasons.
It'll
and
never
seasons. Die. Anyway, Jacob, what do you think?
All right, so I really want to pull for Ian on this one. Based off of his team alone, he's got a lot of comfort Pokemon that he really enjoys using, like Scizor, Comfey, Sableye, and Komala. Yeah. Are all Pokemon that have been in his repertoire for years. And then you have just old league staples of like Garchomp, who's seen a lot of play, so he's seen a lot of sets from it. You've seen Conkeldurr a bunch of seasons. Arcanine's got a lot of showtime. Jolteon's played in like every season. And Mesprit, after I told him to pick it up last year, he had some success on it. So I think he's got a lot of resources that he can use to build a really awesome team that can come in pretty hot swinging against Zacier. That being said, I'm not discounting Zacier's ability here. Like, his team is also pretty hot. I am a non-believer in Mega Camrupt personally.
But
that's just
I'll show you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that Ian doesn't really have like a solid water. I mean, like, Milotic is a good water type, but he doesn't have like a solid like. This is going to come in and stop Mega Camrupt in its tracks, so like that'll be pretty
much any water type actually comes in and stops Mega Camrupt in its tracks.
Yeah. Either
that
way,
would be why he's a tier 3 Mega.
Yeah. Either way, I'm gonna pull for Ian on this one. I think that he's got the team that he can kind of like. If he finds his groove, he can definitely pull it out.
That's all the points you made are exactly what I'm afraid of. Yeah. I know he likes these Pokemon. There's a lot he can do with them. And they're going to force me to play a certain way because they can all play way.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, penultimate match of the week. We have the Pick-a-Pecks and the Fearos. The Pick-a-Pecks will almost definitely be leading with a Pick-a-Peck next week.
You can almost guarantee it.
And for that reason, I'm going to go for the Fearos. Next, Jacob, you can go early this time.
Non-believer.
I agree. If Jake wants any chance of winning this game, he does have to not bring Pick-a-Peck and has to figure out something else.
He could never win a game with Pick-a-Peck.
I do think some very specific hyper-offensive strats I mean, I'm not going to get into heavy in strategy. I think Dave takes this one just based off of his experience and his just raw stats and just ability to just plow through teams.
The attack.
I think once one or two of Jake's Pokemon fall, the rest will fall like dominoes.
Yeah.
I think it'll just be a matter of time. Dan, do you want to add anything to this?
You're all non-believers in Pick-a-Pex. You're all wrong. He's going to bring Soul Rock and get a 6-0 Super Soul Rock.
I would love to see it. I would love to see how
that
Soul Rock
happens, I'll give you $50.
Yeah, I will give you $50
I'm holding
as
you
well.
to that. I'm holding you both to this.
Please.
Soul Rock gets a 6-0 sweep.
Yeah, I think
I get $50.
I would personally love to see Jake bring a bulky hyper offense. I would throw it up for him, dude. I think
he's got the team for it.
I think that's
he's got the team for it.
To be honest,
Yep.
but anyway.
And then the final match to wrap this up, nice and easy. This is the big match. The 2-0 teams, the Sneasels with Evan and the Scythers with Nick. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how Nick snuck out a 2-0. He faced Dan and Greg, so maybe that's why. But
wow,
I'm just teasing you, Dan.
Wow, no, there was some truth to that one.
I still don't like Nick's team. I'll be real. I don't like it. He's done work with it. I don't know if he's even brought Necrozma.
He didn't bring it against me. Did he bring it this week?
I don't remember seeing it at all. But you know, he might think about bringing Necrozma soon. But I think like his team just has too many overlapping problems for me that I know Evan will exploit, and Evan will just sit back. He'll lounge back in his chair. He'll know that he can just slowly whittle Nick down. He doesn't have to make any crazy plays, and he'll just make the right play each time and take Nick. So I'm gonna say Evan will remain undefeated after this week, and Nick will go down. Anyone can jump in and say their thoughts.
I'll jump in. Nick's got a real problem with having a lot of psychic types, and he has arguably the best psychic counter in the game, or Evan does in Mega Tyranitar.
Yeah.
Really fantastic defensive checks to cover Mega Tyranitar's weaknesses. So I would expect a big game.
Yeah, I
don't know how much there is that Nick can do against it outside of his handful, Buzzwoles, Crafty, who all have their own problems to deal with.
I think
obviously a very capable battler. So
we may see some pretty hard pursuit trapping this week or something. We'll see.
I would like to.
Anyway, Dan or Jacob?
I guess I'll come in on this one. So, surprise, surprise, I'm actually going to go the opposite with you guys. I'm going to actually root for Nick on this one.
Oh, I will root for Nick, but I'm not going to predict for Nick.
Well, so here's the thing, right? And this isn't, and I get that this is like strategy or whatever, but it's no secret that Nick probably has the best baton pass team in the league.
Yes.
With, like all of his potential guys passing it around and stuff, and he's already used it in other games. That being said, his Pokemon have very solid coverage if you just look a little bit deeper than the regular Smogon sets.
Yeah.
A lot of which can actually allow some of these Pokemon to flip the matchups over their head if they have the right baton pass stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I will say about Evan's team is that while it is very threatening and very cool, like it's a good team overall, I think that there are a couple Pokemon that kind of like don't fit the tempo of the team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of like
I can
Mega Tyranitar is a very good Pokemon. I don't think it fits with the rest of the team. Like you have sand, you can't stop it. It has sand, and you don't really have a sand team. I don't know. Either way, I think it'll be a really close battle. I think it could obviously go either way. I'd say probably from like a pure strategic standpoint, Evan has the upper hand, but just based on the fact that Nick has these weird potential things, I think he can piece together a team that can take this one.
Dan, any thoughts?
Evan knows how to deal with baton pass shenanigans. I think he's going to take a look at the just the potential passers and such, and just do what Evan does and just have counters for him. I'm giving this one to Evan here, with all the disrespect towards Nick.
With all the disrespect.
I would love to see Nick succeed, and then we'll have some discussion about how broken baton pass is or something because of it.
No, don't get me wrong. I want Nick to win. Nick's not going to win.
Yeah, I just have
love to have discussion on this.
Yeah, like I just have faith that he can put together a crazy team that's going to pull it out somehow.
Yeah.
Well,
Nick does pull a lot of shit.
Yes,
Nick is good at pulling shit.
Anyway, guys, this was kind of the whole recap of this week and predictions for next week. So, I guess we're gonna have matches up sometime for next week, and we'll be covering the results then. We went just about over an hour, so we're back into the long Pokecasts again. But
shit, we got robot host.
Whatever.
Yeah, I can't hear him at all.
He's breaking down.
Well, they can't hear me, but I'm
dead.
just gonna go ahead and sign off. I'll see you guys next week.
His computer was asked to do more than one thing at a time.